Hello, my legendary viewers. Today, I will be going over all of the changes for Protection Warriors for the War Within. For those who like to play, Protection Warriors, and for those who are going to try. So, first things first, we're going to be looking at the core changes. Before I start, I'm getting all of this information from Wowhead, Icy Veins. I think I got something from MMO Champion, but just a little mix and match of all those websites. First is the core changes. Blood and Thunder has been removed. If you have Rend talented, Thunderclap will now apply Rend to 5 enemies by default. Uproar has now reduces the cooldown of Thunder's Roar by 45 seconds instead of 30 seconds. Champion's Might effect now lasts until Champion's Spear is active, without the limitation of having to be inside the Spear's effect. Defensive Stance no longer reduces your damage dealt, and it now reduces your damage taken by 16% instead of 20%. So you got a little... Her defense is not as high anymore. Titanic Throw and Furious Blows have been removed. What? That's crazy, because I usually use Titanic Throw to grab my enemies towards me. So that is that's crazy. Shockwave and Thunderous War no longer give rage. Thunderous Words only increases bleed damage, while Thunderous War bleed is active. Reinforced plates now give 10% of armor instead of 20. God, they are making Protection Warriors suck. Second Wind now also constantly heals you while you are below 35% health. Honed Reflexes have been designed to reduce the cooldown of Shield Wall, Intervene, Spell Reflection, and Stormbolt, and Pummel by 5%. Impending Victory now heals you for 20% of your maximum health instead of 30%. The Protection Talent tree, on the other hand, has had only 2 significant changes and a bunch of number of tunings. Can't read. Improved Heroic Throw has been replaced with Fight Through the Flames. Dance of Death now increases the duration of your Ravager by 2 seconds, up to 3 times, if an enemy dies while affected by Ravager. Into the Fray now increases your haste up to 8% instead of 10%. Punish reduces damage enemies deal to you by 2% per stack instead of 3%. Enduring Electricity now increases your stamina and armor by 8% instead of 10%. Indomitable increases your maximum health by 6% instead of 10% and heals you for 1% of your maximum health per 20 rage spent instead of 10. Oh man, it don't look like this is going to be fun this go around. Defender's Aegis reduces Shield Wall's cooldown by 60 seconds, up from 30. Impenetrable Wall causes Shield Slam to generate 4 additional rage instead of 3, and reduces the remaining cooldown of Shield Wall by 6 seconds instead of 5 seconds. So, basically, Prot Warrior got nerfed to the ground. So next is the system changes. The Protection Warrior has a choice between Colossus and Mountain Thane for the hero talent trees. That's basically the only system changes there is. Next is the hero talent trees for Protection Warrior in the War Within. First is Colossus hero talents for Protection Warrior. The Colossus hero tree opens up a new ability, which is called Demolish. Alright. Demolish. Unleash a series of precise and powerful strikes against your target, dealing 129.8% of attack power plus 129.8% of attack power plus 519.2% of attack power damage to it, and 519.2% of attack power damage to enemies within 8 yards of it. Deals reduced damage beyond 8 targets. While channeling Demolish, you take 10% less damage and are immune to stuns, knockbacks, and forced movement effects. You can block, parry, dodge, and use certain defensive abilities while channeling Demolish. The rest of the tree consists of various talents with a buff or interact with Demolish in some way. Gameplay-wise, nothing really changed outside of getting to press Demolish every once in a while. The ability itself hits very hard, so it's definitely a satisfying button to press. Something to note, the ability is a hasted channel. This means that you are unable to move or cast the majority of your spells while it is channeling. You can still block and use Shield Wall, Spell Reflection, and Lasting Stand during it. You can also charge and Heroic Leap, but doing so will cancel the channel, and thus the damage. In addition, you can reduce the cooldown of Demolish with Dominance of the Colossus. This creates a guaranteed short burst window on a low cooldown. Your aim is to use Demolish as often as possible, and ideally pair it with other cooldowns like Avatar and Demoralize and Shout to increase its damage. Missing out on Demolish cast will put a big dent in your overall damage, so using Shield Slam as often as you can will be crucial to Dominance of Colossus. So, basically what it's telling you is use Demolish, spam Demolish, and pair it up with Avatar and Demoralize and Shout to increase its damage, therefore give you more aggro. Power-wise, the tree performs very well. Demolish will provide you big numbers, especially in single target, while AoE is slightly behind. Revenge will also play a bigger part in your overall damage output, as the Colossus tree has some talents focusing on its damage output. Defensively, it has some solid options. Demolish itself reduces your damage taken during the channel and for 10 seconds after the channel. You also take 2.5% less damage at all times, thanks to Mountain of Muscle and Scars, No Stranger to Pain, and Veteran Vitality. R1, a choice node. The 15% more damage prevented by Ignore Pain will go a long way, considering how much we are using the ability. There is also Martial Expert with the 20% increased damage blocked with critical blocks. The issue with the talent is that if you do critical block, you already neglect the damage down to almost nothing, causing the extra 20% to be irrelevant. I should have brought some water with all this talking. Kind of regret that now. Utility-wise, you get access to knock up with Earthbreaker. This pairs very well with Rumbling Earth. In any AoE situation, knocks up do not share diminishing returns with stuns, which means that you can still block enemies even if they are already stun immune. Alternatively, you can gain access to Bone Shaker, which increases the stun duration of Shockwave and provides a short slow and after the stun ends between the two. Earthquaker should be the default option. So, that's Colossus for you. Next is Mountain Thane. The Mountain Thane hero tree focuses on Thunder Blast and Lightning Strikes. This tree is totally passive and full of random procs, which in turn can proc other procs, eventually leading to a full circle. Gameplay-wise, you are looking at totally passive tree. The whole concept of this tree is revolving around various procs, which can start a chain reaction of proccing various other effects, creating a full circle as shown below. Burst of Power allows Lightning Strikes to proc Shield Slam, Strategist can proc Shield Slam can proc Thunder Blast can proc Lightning Strikes thanks to Flashing Skies. And if that was not enough for some random procs, Lightning Strikes can also activate Avatar for 4 seconds through Avatar of the Storm. It should be mentioned that this avatar does not provide you with 2 Thunder Blasts. Taking all above into consideration, playing your normal rotation of focusing on Shield Slam and Thunderclap, you are already taking full advantage of this hero tree. Thunder Blast hits like a truck and has already been satisfying already. And the best part is it replaces Thunderclap when it procs. No extra button to worry about. Thane being focused on Thunder Blast, Thunderclap, and Shield Slam provided more fluid gameplay than its counterpart in Colossus. Power-wise, it performs well in situations, but excels at AoE. While the whole tree relies heavily on random procs, it still provides a hefty amount of damage over the course of the encounter. Thunder Blast is the biggest damage part of the tree, while being mostly randomly procced. You can guarantee 2 stacks of it every time you use Avatar, thanks to Avatar of the Storm. This means that you have a guarantee burst window every 45 to 60 seconds on top of all the other Thunder Blast and Lightning Strike procs. Defensively, you gain access to Strength of the Mountain and keep your feet on the ground, or Steadfast as the peaks. The first one causes Demoralizing Shout to be reduced by 5% more damage. This can lead to a lot more extra damage reduction, especially when paired with Thunderlord. Keep your feet on the ground reduces your physical damage by 2%, and also causes Thunderblast to reduce damage taken by 8% in 5 seconds. Both of these are great passive defensive benefits for an already tanky class. Utility-wise, you get to choose between Storm Shield and Storm Bolt. Storm Shields makes Intervene also grant a magic absorb to your target, while Storm Bolt makes Storm Bolt hit 2 additional enemies. There's a clear winner here, and it is Storm Shield. The absorb is based on 3 times your armor, and Protection Warriors have a lot of armor. So, that is Mountain Thane for you. Now we will be going over the tier sets for Season 1, The War Within. So, the 2 set piece. When Shield Slam is reset through Strategist, you gain a buff, increasing the damage of Shield Slam by 5% and reducing damage taken by 3% for 6 seconds. Considering how often Strategist resets Shield Slam, you can expect a fairly high uptime on both of these bonuses. Neither of them are significant, but they still provide a tiny bit of extra damage and defensiveness on a 70% plus uptime. A totally passive bonus that is kept up by focusing on the highest priority rotationally ability, Shield Slam. The 4 set piece is Shield Slam. Critical strikes increases the damage dealt by Thunderclap and Revenge by 10%. The uptime of this is heavily reliant on your critical strike stat. Luckily, critical strike is a solid second stat option to stack for Protection Warriors. After haste, as it was with the 2-piece, you do not need to actively pay attention to this damage increase. Playing the rotation properly, you will be pressing Thunderclap or Revenge after most Shield Slam casts, taking benefit from this increased damage. How good is the Protection Warrior tier bonus in The War Within? Well, the 2 set piece is numerically fairly weak, though. The saving grace for this is that it has a fairly high uptime if Shield Slam is pressed on cooldown, as opposed to. And the 4 set is fairly lackluster, as it relies heavily on critical strike. With enough critical strike, it becomes better and better. As the uptime of the buff increases, it is a totally passive tier set, which works off of our core rotational abilities. The two piece can be expected to have 80% uptime, with the 4 piece with a significantly lower until we get higher crit values, comparing to previous tier sets. The strength and weaknesses of Prot Warriors for Season 1, The War Within. The strengths are more utility options from hero talents to help you group or CC enemies, and core gameplay remains the same, but hero talents provide a slightly different flavor to the already familiar rotation. And weaknesses: lack of build variety and talents, no real choices to be made, a more or less clear-cut single target and AoE setup. Rotationally, the same as previously. Hero talents require 2 to 3 points to be spent in the class tree to even function. So that is all that Icy Vein is showing for Protection Warriors for Season 1 for the War Within. So yeah, that's on the War Within. I don't think there's nothing else. Nothing really else to look out for Protection Warriors. So if y'all have any questions or concerns, please drop down a comment. And please like and subscribe for more legendary awesome content. So I will post another video soon. It's probably going to be gameplay instead of just looking at Wowhead or Icy Veins or MMO Champion. So until next time, my fellow Azeroth gamers.